So anyone can tell you how a bike feels after one ride, but when you do 20,000 kilometers on one machine, that's where the real truth comes out. Today we have Sandeep, who owns this Ducati DesertX, and he's going to talk about not just spec sheet, but his experience about owning a bike and how Ducati DesertX has been. So welcome to Throttle Itch, Sandeep.
Thank you so much.
20,000 kilometers, that's serious time on the bike. So let's start off with the question basically, why this bike? Why a Ducati? Why a Ducati DesertX?
Right. So I had few bikes in mind because I was upgrading from a 650. So I wanted a bike which is in the middleweight segment, where the bike which I could kind of go for touring, take it off-road as well, do trails, occasional trails as well. So I wanted a bike which could do it all.
Okay.
So in this segment, I was looking at F900 GS, DesertX and the Triumph Tiger 900.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get an opportunity to test ride those bikes?
I did. So I didn't get the opportunity to test ride the F900 at that point of time because it was not launched. I'm talking about 2024 September, October. I did test rode the Triumph Tiger Rally and the 850 GS at that time, which was available.
Okay. So when you bought this bike, what did you expect? Like after doing 20,000 kilometers, did the bike surprise you?
Surprise me in good ways only, thankfully, touch wood, in the sense that it is an ADV for sure. But the kind of performance this engine has, it's no less than a sports bike, I would say. Like if you really want to extract a good performance out of this bike, like you can really behave like a hooligan on the road with this machine.
Okay.
So that way it did surprise me how the power delivery works on this bike. But other than that, I think it's very capable. I've always had good times with this bike.
Because I remember when you bought this bike, the first few months you were just riding it on the, you skipped off the enduro mode and the sports mode when we were doing trails and we were doing city rides. So I remember that part of it. Like it was a little intimidating.
Initially it did because I was also moving to a bigger bike for the first time. So when you actually sit on these bikes and when you get the sense of scale and the size of the bike, it can intimidate you if you're not used to these machines.
Right.
It did take me a month or two to get comfortable with it. But once you get comfortable, it's a very flickable machine and you feel right at home.
Okay.
And I think with these machines, what I have to mention is the weight, which is very important. As you go for bigger machines, the heavier they get, and hence they'll need more skill and maybe a bit more effort than a lighter machine to use.
Right. When you look at it, your Continental GT650 that you own and this bike, they both weigh the same.
They both weigh the same, but the use case is very different.
Right.
So like the seat height, that's mainly for tarmac. I'm not taking it to the trails. This I take it on some difficult terrains,
Okay.
Some technical trails. So that's where the weight of the bike actually matters. If I'm riding it on the road, it doesn't feel, you will not feel the weight of the bike for sure.
Let's talk about how the bike actually feels to ride. Power delivery, your highway rides, city rides, throttle response.
See, I think I'll not recommend this bike for city rides for sure because it's a big machine to ride around the city. It's not meant for that.
Right.
Anyways, it's okay once in a while if you want to commute to point A to point B, it's fine. But it really gets heated up in the traffic situation, so I'll not recommend that.
Sorry, but being a Ducati, does it heat up more than the regular bikes?
I don't know if being a Ducati heats up, or these kind of engines they do heat up in general.
Okay.
I think mainly how we have to look at these is how the heat management is done in different kind of bikes. So I think any bike which is 900,000 cc plus, they will heat up to a certain point, and you just need to know how to manage it better. Either with a better riding gear or how the companies or the brands have done the heat management around these bikes. Yeah.
How's the highway feel though?
Highway feel is amazing. No complaints there. Amazing to tour on, amazing to do trails on, amazing to take it off the road. Or like it meets all your adventure needs basically. I think the only thing is probably on the highway rides, it's you feel a bit of wind because the wind protection is not that great on this bike, including
With
the
standard
windscreen.
yeah.
You can probably install a taller one, but that also, I don't know, for my height actually this doesn't work that well. But as long as you are like keeping it under 120, I think it's fine. But if you start going beyond a certain level, then you do feel the buffeting on your helmet.
So you've done serious off-roading. I wouldn't say serious off-roading, but you've done summer sprint and we've done, we've done a fair amount together
trails
itself.
regularly and even on
you've
the
done
longer tours.
Serious long distance as well. Like considering you've done the IBW from Gurgaon to Panchgani and then back. So how was that experience? Like the seat comfort. You mentioned the wind protection though. But how does it feel to ride? Like in terms of the long distance, were you taking shorter breaks or were you able to pull the bike for a little more longer because of the seat comfort and the way the bike rides?
Right. So I think that's where a big ADV makes sense when it comes to touring. A lot of people ask if big ADVs are useless, they are unnecessarily front heavy and doesn't make any sense. It's better to stick to a 450 or a 600cc bike and they do good enough. They do good enough, but on these bikes you can do serious distances without getting tired. I think that's where they come in because you do serious long distances. The speeds that they can run at constantly is better. So touring definitely makes more sense on bigger machines, I feel, unless you take them to difficult terrains. That's where it gets a bit technical for you. But touring on this has been amazing too. I went to Panchgani. From there we went on to Goa and then via Bombay, Udaipur we got back. So that entire circuit was around 4,500 kilometers and I had no problems whatsoever with the machine.
Okay.
I had a lot of fun doing it and we did like good. I mean, it's not something to kind of brag about, but we did around 750 kilometers a day, which was not that difficult on this bike.
Okay, but when you talk about the off-road reality of it, like how does it feel on the off-roads? Like
So
this?
off-roads, it's good as long as you understand it and you can manage the weight of the machine. I think at the end of the day, everything comes to the skill of an individual. I still feel it's an overkill for me, like still learning to ride a big ADV on technical terrains. But I mean, it holds its own, no issues whatsoever. I have taken it to technical trails, smaller trails, dirt rides. We even did a small desert ride when we went to Rajasthan. I took it everywhere. So no issues with the machine as such. But as I said, like one has to know how to manage these machines.
Right. So let's talk about the experience that you had with the brand, from buying the motorcycle to the servicing part of it, the wear and tear, the maintenance. How is that? Because as far as I have seen, there's a notion about Ducati being a very expensive brand to maintain and that it's too much of a hassle compared to other brands. But I don't think so personally, but what do you have to say about it?
So all in all, I had great experience with Ducati guys. Never had any issues, whether it was buying experience or the service center. They are very hands-on, very helpful. They are aware of the machines that they are selling. So which is very important because they set the right expectations for you.
Right.
Walking into a Ducati showroom, you can't expect that, okay, I can really think about how much the service will cost and how much the parts will cost. Because as you move up the ladder in these brands, you will see that the cost adds up for sure.
For any brand
But
for that
any
matter.
brand for that matter, even a BMW or a Triumph, the service cost will be very different compared to say a 500cc bike that you've been riding.
That's true.
Or a different brand, say Royal Enfield, because those machines are very built very differently, whether it's the parts or the quality of the materials that is used, and also then additionally brand value. I would
Right.
say obviously all the badges come with a certain cost. Cost factor is there, but not as much in the maintenance of the bike because for this thing the service interval is 15,000 kilometers or 18 months.
Okay.
I think for BMW it's 10,000 kilometers and every year.
I think most of the brands have it very
10,000
similar to
kilometers,
10,000
right?
or a year.
Right. So it's as per, as per the other brands, the service for this bike particularly costed me around 12 to 15,000. Every service that I've done so far, I've done 2. And then also it depends how an individual maintains his bike. So if I want to just stick to the intervals, like I'll just service it once a year or 18 months or 15,000 kilometers, then it's just that 12,000 to 15,000 kilometer what it'll cost you. But if you really want to maintain these machines for a longer period of time, because they ask those kind of maintenance,
Right.
then like every time I do a long ride, I will take it to a service center.
That's true, because even when we go for a long ride, before going and after coming back also, we have a basic maintenance check that we do.
Exactly. So
that
that's
adds
where
up
I
to
think
the
the
cost.
cost adds up a bit. And more than the service, I think the parts are a bit expensive in these brands. Like say, in case you end up breaking one of the levers, it'll cost you around 30,000 something because they are Rizoma levers. The foot pegs ho gaya, tail lamps ho gaya. So these kind of things will be expensive depending on the particular brand that you're
That's
talking
true.
about. But services wise, I think is same as any other brand.
Right. So basically, all the brands have the same cost and maintenance. It's just the parts. Like no matter what brand you choose, no matter what bike you own,
Yeah.
the parts will be expensive depending on which model or which category of bike that you own.
Also, I think additionally, I'll mention the Desmo service because this is a Tesla starter engine. The famous Desmo valves. At 30,000 kilometers, it has to have a Desmo service, which is quite expensive. It's upwards of 70K. So that's somebody who's buying this bike or these engines
Has
have
to keep in mind.
Have to keep in
Definitely.
mind.
I think when you've done 20,000 kilometers, you might have changed the tires as well, because the STRs are recommended to be changed after every 10 to 15,000.
Right. So these are soft compounds. So obviously they don't last as much. These I changed when I crossed 14,000 kilometers. So just before the Panchani ride, I changed the tires and the brake pads as well.
Okay.
That's an additional cost. I think wear and tear is with every bike as and when you run them. I went back to the Rally STR, which come as the stock tires in this bike, and the Brembo brake pads, which came as stock. So they're pretty good. So I just wanted to stick to the same thing.
So when it comes to off-roading, does this bike, like when you've ridden this bike for the experience that you had on the off-road tracks, like have you ever bottomed it out?
I've not bottomed it out, but I can definitely say that the suspension could be a bit stiffer compared to some other bikes in the market. I don't have like extensive experience with other bikes, I will say, because I've test ridden them, but I have not really taken them off road. So I
Understood.
can't really speak how a Tiger Rally feels off
Right.
the road or a 850 GS feels off the road. On this particular bike, I can say it could be a bit more stiffer, the suspension. I've not bottomed it out though yet, but also because these are designed for much lighter riders. I'm 90 kilos. This bike is probably, I think the suspension settings are for a 75 kg rider.
Right.
So that makes a lot of difference, right? So the preload and the compression, those kind of things you have to
Even
play
though
around
you have
depending
it
on your own weight.
as a manual option to set it up and
It
tune
has
up
all,
based on that.
yeah, you can do that. Otherwise, performance-wise, off-road, the suspension is one. I think it can be a bit stiffer. Otherwise, amazing. Tires are decently good. They are definitely not meant for mud, but on a regular gravel, dirt, they have amazing performance.
Great.
And I think I'll also mention the riding posture, the rider's triangle. It's pretty good, at least for my height. Like it's perfectly, like I don't need any handlebar risers.
You're, I
for
suppose,
this.
6'1".
I'm 6'1", 186 centimeters. So it just fits perfectly for my frame.
Okay.
Yeah.
So owning this Ducati DesertX, has this changed the way you ride your bike or the perspective that you had about riding? Because you have two motorcycles. So when you ride a Continental GT, you have a different mindset. The whole dynamic changes
Right.
from regular foot pegs to the rare set foot pegs.
Right.
And then riding a DesertX, that's again, you're sitting straight, you're sitting upright. The whole posture changes. That has those things affected or improved or like gone down for you in terms of how you ride the bike?
See, I think everybody has a particular kind of motorcycling experience or, how do I say it? Background that they come from.
Right.
So earlier I was riding the Continental GT. I'm still riding that bike because I primarily really like the whole cafe racer style bikes. That was the reason I got that bike, and I'm really into adventure riding. Two very different genres of riding, but I enjoy both. And I think the different kind of bikes you ride, it only makes you more mature as a rider. It gives you only more experience. But at the same time, two very different brands, very different kind of motorcycles, because that's very retro.
That's true.
Electronically, I think the GT only has, I think, ABS. That's the only thing that it has.
It doesn't even have ride-by-wire.
Whereas this one is like mechanically and technically, it's way more advanced than that.
You got quick shifter,
So
man.
it definitely, yeah, it has a quick shifter. It'll have your cruise control and those kind of things. So they really spoil you, these machines. But then I think you should know, or at least be aware what exists in the world. It should not be like, okay, I want to stick to retro bikes and this is all that whole the motorcycling is about.
Right.
And this is all I want to experience. Because a lot of people kind of, they just disregard the modern motorcycles. As the technology is improving, we should experience all kinds of machines which are there in the market. It only makes you more experienced and more mature as a rider, I feel. So though I love the retro vibes of my GT 650 and I enjoy riding that bike a lot, at the same time, I really enjoy riding this as well. And I love the whole technical part that it comes with.
So when we look at the DesertX and after you owning it, what do you think? Who should not buy this bike? Like a person who is like a beginner or a city rider?
Definitely not a beginner's bike. Definitely not a city riding bike.
I don't think even the price sensitive person should go for this.
Any of these brands, I think. I think I always tell people, say, if you have a budget of say 5 lakh rupees for your bike, I think look for a bike which is around 3 lakhs. Spend the rest of the money probably on a good riding gear. Probably if there is a way you can improve your skills, and park that money aside. Because what will happen is, a lot of times what we do is, if I have a budget of 5 lakh rupees, I'll end up buying a bike of 7 lakh rupees. You really stretch your budget, and then you start making compromises on the maintenance of the bike, which should never happen. At the end of the day, this is a very risky passion in our lives that we do. And I think maintenance is one thing which can really, sometimes keep your bike at a, how do I say it? Like, it keeps your bike in a condition where it can actually save your life and make or break a journey. So whether it's your brake pads, whether it's your tires, whether it's the kind of oils that you're using or fluids you're using in your bike, these things are very important, but people don't look at these things while buying or making a purchase decision, or regret later that I shouldn't have gone for this bike. Now I'm not able to manage it or
But
service.
then the brand gets dissed for that.
Brands get this because see, if I'm buying this bike, I should already be aware of the
what is going
cost
to come.
involved with it.
That's true.
So whether it's a BMW or a Triumph or a Royal Enfield for that matter, you should already be aware of the cost involved in the later stages of a motorcycle.
And it's best to, like, even personally what I do is I try to research about the bike before buying it so that I know what's going to come, the pros and cons.
All the information is available.
And it's there.
It's
Everything
not
is there
difficult to
on
find
the
out
internet.
it's not very difficult to find like the ownership cost of any vehicle for that matter.
It's very difficult to find a Ducati DesertX to be reviewed right now because you don't find it.
Yeah, not many people are buying these machines for
A
some
lot of
reason.
people are buying it and selling it, but nobody knows actually what the actual purpose of this bike is and why one should go for it. It is never seen as a Ducati because it doesn't look or has any red.
It's not a red hot Ducati.
It's not a bright red Ducati, so nobody knows it's a Ducati. People have questioned them saying that is it a Honda or is it a RE?
A lot of people confuse it with Africa Twin also for some meter.
So people are confused about these bikes, but we need to be aware of it.
Yeah, I always tell people, let people keep riding GSs of the world and be happy about it. And the people who are riding Ducatis, they're happy in their own little world.
So let's end it with the most important question. If you had the opportunity to buy it again, would you go for this one? Or would you go for the new V2?
I think this one's discontinued anyways. And in a
But
lot
still.
of ways, I think, so I definitely like the looks of this one more because this is way more retro looking. The design language of this is, as I said, it's designed from the Kajiva, the Dakar bike.
The Dakar Rally.
It's completely derived from there, the body and everything. The new one is definitely an improvement over this bike, mechanically and as a machine, because they have improved the suspension on that. They have reduced the weight a little bit. They even have fixed the placement of the filter because now
That
it's
is a
easily
major
accessible.
headache for a lot
So
of
they have done all
bikes.
the right changes in that machine. So as a motorcycle, that's definitely a better machine than this and or a better choice. But the way this looks, I think I'll go for this one. But the way that performs, I think I'll choose the new one.
That's a very contradictory statement.
It is contradictory, but I mean, as you move forward and new generations of motorcycles come in, I think we'll always draw comparisons between what has been in the
Definitely.
past and what are the new machines.
So this is what the real ownership looks like. This is what a DesertX looks like. And this is a Ducati DesertX. And there's no spec sheet. It's basically about his experience as to what he felt when he owned the bike, still owning it, probably running it for another 50,000 kilometers,
Hopefully.
hopefully, before selling it off. Or we'll
Or
see
not
what
selling it
happens.
off.
We'll see what happens
You never
next.
know.
But that's a great review from Sandeep about what the bike is, what Ducati DesertX has, what the potential of the bike is. It's a great bike, not for beginners, but someone who is very inclined towards doing serious off-roading, wants to have a touring machine. Along with it, it's got a decent 21 liters of tank. It's going to give you 350 to 400
Upwards
kilometers of
350
range.
yeah.
And you're going to you'll be happy with it. Just that you'll also have to remember the cost that comes along with such bikes. Your rest of the bikes might be a little cheaper to buy. The Ducati comes with that major cost. Being an Italian brand, it will give you all the best features and everything. So if you guys like this video, we'll make more such content on Throttle Itch. I definitely want to have another video with Sandeep, which would be a comparison between the F900 GS and the Ducati DesertX.
That'll be interesting. Yeah.
Because I feel that's a very close competition bike that is there out, and people don't talk about such machines. The only bike that's running currently is the GS A and the 1300 GS. Nobody knows the smaller siblings, which are good, but they need to be spoken about as well. So thank you for watching, guys. We'll see you later.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandeep.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.